This video will show you how to change a motor on the hanging sorter. The first step is to shut down the power. For safety, unplug your sorter from the outlet and tape over the outlet to let everyone know not to plug it back in while you're working. Next, shut off the emergency stop by the motor you're replacing. Then, with a 5/16 nut driver, loosen the 4 bolts that hold the cover on the junction box attached to the motor. If there are any manufacturer directions in the junction box, please remove them. Next, with an 8mm wrench, remove the ground wire from the terminal. Now, use a 7mm open-end wrench to loosen the nuts on these poles. You are removing the power wires from the load side of the connector. In order to remove the strain relief connector, lift up on the corner tabs on the top and bottom, and it will allow it to pop off as shown. Remove the wires one at a time. Next, remove the shroud by using a number 1 screwdriver, a Phillips head. Be careful, it's easy to strip out these bolts. There are 14 screws to remove. Next, loosen these 4 screws with a 3/16 Allen wrench key. Then remove these 2 screws from the clamp connector, shown here holding the motor in place. Now slide the motor forwards to disengage the gear from the chain that drives the machine. Next, loosen the 4 hex screws holding the fan cover on top of the motor. Twist and pull off as shown. Spin the motor fan to get access to the set screws located on the sprocket gear. There are 2 set screws you will need to remove. Use a 1/8 inch Allen wrench to remove the set screws. Next, remove these hex bolts with a 5/16 Allen wrench from the bottom of the motor bracket. We're removing the motor bracket to get access to the sprocket gear. Now you will use a snap ring plier to remove the snap rings on these 2 posts. Use the snap ring pliers and a flathead screwdriver to pry off the snap rings. Next, remove these smaller snap rings. Then remove the 2 set screws with a 1/8 inch Allen wrench. Do the same thing on the other side as shown. Remember, there are 2 set screws on each connector. Use a 3/4 inch open-end wrench to remove these nuts on the threaded rods. Now use a rubber mallet to gently remove the motor bracket, exposing the gears and chains of the motor transmission. Using a digital caliper, measure the distance the sprocket is on the drive shaft, so you'll know exactly how far to install it later. Here we read 0.34 inches. Now remove the 2 set screws on the sprocket with a 1/8 inch Allen wrench. Remove them entirely from the sprocket. Next, screw in a 20 socket head cap bolt into the drive shaft to protect the threads and attach your gear puller, as shown. Using a 9/16 socket on a ratchet, tighten down the gear puller until the sprocket is removed. Next, remove these 4 screws from around the motor with a 3/16 Allen wrench. Now you'll be able to lift the motor up and remove the motor. To install the new motor, place the new motor into the motor bracket. Use a 3/16 Allen wrench or hand tighten 4 bolts around the motor. Leave them loose for now. You'll need them loose to re-engage the chain later. There's a spot on the sprocket for a key on the drive shaft. These must be aligned when you put the sprocket back onto the drive shaft. Align the sprocket with the key on the drive shaft and press it on as best you can by hand. Then take your 1/4 socket head cap screw with a large washer on it and thread it into the drive shaft as shown. Now tighten this screw and you will press the sprocket back onto the drive shaft. Remember, we measured the distance with a digital caliper, so we know exactly how far to return the sprocket onto the drive shaft. Use your digital caliper to see how far you have to go. Here, we have a little further to go. Remove the screw and washer and remeasure. We have successfully reinstalled the sprocket to 0.34 of an inch. Now reinstall the set screws onto the sprocket using a 1/8 inch Allen wrench. Here, these set screws won't go back in. Sometimes when removing a set screw, the threads will have to be reworked in order to reinstall the set screw. Here we are chasing the threads with a 1/4 inch 20 tap to make sure the threads are clean of any obstructions, so the set screws will reinstall. You may have to do this if your set screws won't go back in. Don't over tighten these set screws, just get them snug. Now slide the motor forwards to re-engage the chain as shown. Reinstall the screws to the set bracket and tighten the bolts. Then tighten the other 4 screws holding the motor in place. Reinstall the motor bracket by lightly tapping with a rubber mallet. Now screw these 2 nuts onto the threaded rods. Use a 3/4 inch open end wrench to tighten. Just get them snug. To reinstall the large snap rings, it may take 2 people, one to hold the ring in place while another uses a flathead screwdriver to snap them into place. Now reinstall the small snap rings using the snap ring pliers. Next, reinstall the screws into the motor bracket. Just get them snug. Now, reinstall the set screws with a 1/8 inch Allen wrench, 2 on each side. Now reattach the shroud using a number 1 Phillips head screwdriver. Just get the screws snug, do not over tighten. These screws are easy to strip out. There are 14 screws. Next, thread the wires into the junction box one at a time and reconnect the tension relief. Attach the 3 black power wires to the poles as shown and tighten them with a 7mm open-end wrench. Do not over tighten. Then reattach the ground wire with an 8mm open-end wrench. Place the fan cover back on top of the motor and snug up the 4 bolts holding it in place. Reattach the cover and gasket to the junction box with a 5/16 nut driver. Turn on the emergency stop, plug in the sorter, and turn on the power at the power supply. You have successfully changed a motor on the hanging sorter.